From the Standing Stone Farm Studio right outside downtown Nashville, it's time for the most ridiculous sports podcast in the world. So sit back, relax, and listen as Bobby Butler and Brandon Bond crack open a cold one and talk all things hockey, pop culture, and complain about everyday situations. It's the Pucks Out Podcast on the Penalty Box Radio Network.
Welcome into the most ridiculous podcast of sports and pop culture. I'm Bobby. He's Brandon.
Hey-o.
You can find us on the three majors of social media at Pucks Out Pod. Let's crack open this cold Mayday beer. Let's get after it. As always, Pucks Out is powered by Mayday Brewery, the official beer of Pucks Out Podcast. Catch them every Tuesday for bingo and Thursday for bingos. Today we've got a lot on the docket to talk about. We've got our Pacific Division Part 1. We got outside the NHL. We got a joke of the week, pop culture, and a question from the internet. But how are you this week, bud?
Doing good, man. I was doing a lot better until I saw this free Grammarly suggestion for our tagline. You know, Pucks Out is powered by Mayday Brewery, the official beer of Pucks Out Podcast. Great, right? That's a beautiful line. You wrote it yourself. It's like your Shakespeare. Their suggestion is Mayday Brewery, the official beer of Pucks Out Podcast, powers Pucks Out. You're the expert here. This whole thing, the Grammarly thing, was your idea. I don't know, man. I was in a great mood. And that brought me down, Bob. I'm upset now. I'm flustered and I'm frustrated. Other than that, I've had a great week. Even been having to drive in the office 3 days a week. It's been fine, man. I've been okay. Been doing well. Definitely, just getting ready for fantasy football. Pretty much all my time at this point. If it's not spent at work, I'm either playing some 2K, getting ready for 2K24 to come out, or fantasy football, studying for a draft, or fantasy football mock draft, or fantasy football actual draft, or Big Brother and Big Brother live feeds. So it sounds like, wow, your life is you got so much going on. It's basically me sitting here looking at the UDK while playing NBA 2K, and the live feeds are also on. It sounds like a lot, but it's nothing. I'm not doing nothing, Bob. I'm doing good though. How are you, man?
Doing good. Work's going great. Football season's in high school football season swing. We got some coaching gear in, so that's always fun. Got some bag to wear. Having a good time. I didn't have practice today because we had a meeting, so I was able to get here a little bit early, so we record on time before Big Brother starts. But yeah, don't forget to check us out on Patreon to support the show. We haven't been streaming much, but hopefully once soon I'll get kind of into a kind of a good schedule, and I'll find some time to stream here soon. Quick fit check. Nothing special on my end.
Yeah, nothing special either. I got the Pucks Out. I mean, I guess it's super special. It's a Pucks Out t-shirt. It's wonderful. But I even had a hat on, and I took it off before recording. Saw you didn't have a hat on. I was like, I won't even embarrass him. No hats for us today, bro. Mark this day. I'm gonna put it on the episode.
No hat in it.
No hat in it.
Yeah. I think so. I have not worn a hat much this month because I can't wear a hat at work. And so my body is just like, well, this is weird. So that also means I'm having to get a haircut like on a regular schedule.
No, you should just wear it. Do what I do. Wear it into work. Hook it, on your bag or your whatever. So you got it. You got it, JIC. You're walking out, boom, hat.
Yeah.
Walking in, boom. That's what I've been doing, bro.
True.
Obviously, I can't wear a hat either, but it's like, dude, I got too many fresh hats for them to just be sitting at home.
Yeah.
Dude. You know what I'm saying?
So
like,
the
I'm back in the
situation
world.
The situation with that is that I have to do my hair before I leave. So if I put a hat on, then it screws up the hair that I spent time on doing.
Let me ask you
my hair's starting to get a little long, so I have to put some stuff in it.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Why can't you do it when you get there, bro? That's all I'm saying, dude. Just have your hair. I mean, you can't now because it would melt into oblivion. Like imagine a time in which you could. Right now, it feels like, I don't know if you also feel this way. But you walk outside from like an air conditioned, or not even an air conditioned, just like and it feels like you just hit a brick wall.
Like you just got punched in the
like
gut.
It hurt. Like you just
Yeah.
like you just went on, like you're just now on Mars. If Mars is one of those places that feels heavier.
Yeah.
If it's not, then I'm gonna go the other way.
Yeah. And we're recording on Thursday. Tomorrow, Friday, I think they said it's going to be a high of 108 and it feel like 111, which is that is an oppressive heat.
I'm not even going to be sick.
It was so hot.
I'm going to call in sick of it tomorrow. I'm just sick of it. I'm done. I'm not coming. I don't even have to go in the office. I'm going to be in my living quarters, but I can't even imagine having to work on a day in which other people have to venture out into this.
Yeah. Laverne lost power for a little bit earlier this week because the heat was so bad. So like the whole school lost power for probably 45 minutes. They got it back on. So we had and it wasn't just us. It was because we're right near Nissan. So Nissan and a bunch of those industrial things, they had a blackout for the heat. Nice. So it was not fun losing air conditioning for that.
I bet you it felt great in those climate controlled plants, dude. They're feeling nice. They're feeling right now.
Yeah. Yeah. But all right, let's move on. Let's get into the news.
Everything you need to know about what's happening on the ice. It's time for news from inside the boards.
All righty. Austin Matthews signs a 4-year extension with the Leafs. Average of I'm sorry, it's going to be valued at around $13.25 million. Not surprised. I mean, Austin Matthews is one of the great generation. I thought he would stay with the Leafs, and I think 4 years is good.
4 years, and the Leafs wanted more. I think that from what I read, the Matthews camp was we were firm at 4. We can wiggle with the money at 4. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey,
yeah,
we'll do. So, what that tells me is either he's wanting to get more from the Leafs again in 4 years. You've got a better chance at that better contract again, or he's already kind of putting a timetable on them.
Yeah,
to say, let's say cup or bust, and then I go form a super team with Draisaitl and McDavid, and Edmonton is the team, the Canadian team that gets to
they meet in the middle,
Ottawa?
Or the three of them meet in the middle here in Nashville.
Oh, I don't know if that's the middle. Middle would be like. There literally
the middle,
is like
left
a middle.
Right.
There is a middle, though. There's, Ottawa or Winnipeg. I mean, Winnipeg is not middle. Ottawa would be closest middle, right? That has to be the...
No, it's too far east, I think.
No,
I mean, Calgary's too far west.
You're wrong. I'll do the research. You can move us into... outside the NHL. There wasn't a lot of news today, so there's a lot of players getting.
Ottawa is right above Ottawa's right above Michigan.
Yeah, so making it in the middle of Toronto and Edmonton.
If you look at the map though of Canada, it is much more to the right.
No,
bro. If you were to cut Canada in half,
Ottawa is in the middle province. And Toronto's over
on the right border of the middle province.
But in the say it again. Say it again and say it slowly. It's where?
It's on the right border
of the
city of Ottawa
is on the right border of the
it's not
of the middle province.
But it's the province. So Ontario's the middle, not Ottawa.
So
if you would have said they were going to play
it ain't flying, bro. I have absolutely dominated you in geography today. Michigan is as good as dead middle as it could be for NHL teams, bro. I can't move the team, 80 miles to the east. You're looking up mileage. How close am I?
Technically,
I love to hear that. Love to hear that.
Is not even in Canada. It's in Minnesota. Fergus Falls. So the Wild would be the team that he needs to go to.
What is it? What is Ottawa? No, because Minneapolis is on the south side of Minnesota, I think.
Let's see. Fergus Falls.
Fergus Falls sounds like a place that Canada conceded. We took it from Canada. We won it in the War of 1812 or something, like in a French Indian War or something. You know.
Fergus Falls is actually very close to Minneapolis.
How close?
So, it's about a 30-minute drive.
That's not bad. That's not bad. You could be right, but you didn't guess that, so you're not right. Let me ask you this. Is my guess of Ottawa closer than your guess of Nashville?
No, dude, look at no, first off, Ottawa is an hour's drive from Montreal. Look, you got to pull up an actual Google map this, dude.
I don't
Ottawa
need to because
like
you have gone outside of the middle. You've created a third point of entry. We now have a triangle.
Winnipeg, if we were to keep it Canadian, Winnipeg
That's what I was at.
Much more.
I
Winnipeg would be
that.
the middle.
Closer.
I was being playful when I said Nashville.
But you doubled down and started looking up data and never pulled back on your
But I knew it wasn't Ottawa. I knew it wasn't going to be Nashville, but I knew it wasn't Ottawa.
You didn't know it wasn't Ottawa. You.
Oh, I knew it. I immediately was like, no.
No, you weren't. Play it back. Let's keep moving.
I would say it goes.
Play it back.
I would say Winnipeg or Minneapolis or the Wild.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'll look
before
up the
we
data
spend
later.
all day, let's move to outside the NHL.
Now that you know what's happening inside the boards, time for the rest of the headlines with news from outside the boards.
Oh, also, just so you know, and I just saw this, Ottawa's actually more east of Toronto. So Toronto's closer to Edmonton than Ontario.
See, honestly, Bobby, that should have been your first argument, dude.
I hadn't pulled up a map yet. I'm looking at it and I'm like going to the right. I'm like, where's Toronto? Ontario, Ottawa is more east of Toronto.
I can accept. You said it was like, yeah. Anyway, I can accept that. It was like this episode of something where he's like listing off all these reasons of why it's probably not this guy that did it, and like the sixth reason he lists is the guy died like 7 years ago. And so, like, he's like, well, why didn't you lead with that? Like, he's dead. We didn't have to, he not being at home wasn't a factor. He's been dead.
Not to mention,
honestly,
they say that
so your argument of Nashville would be more correct, I think.
Yeah. So I like how we just did a full circle.
Full circle. Full circle. Hey, I'll concede when
that's what they come to listen for.
Hey, right. Yeah, I concede when I'm wrong. It's like, oh, I said, oh, booyah, I'm the geography guy. Turns out you're the geography guy, you nerd. You're the nerd here. I just tricked you into admitting your nerddom because you're a teacher now. You think you got to know everything. So let's keep moving on.
You got to assume that Canadians were listening to this when we first started. They were like, what are these assholes talking about?
They're like, no, they didn't say that. They said, what are they talking about?
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of Nashville, unfortunately, Nashville SC falls in penalties against Messi and crew. Listen, for them to get where they did, for them to put up such a fight against Messi is something to be said. And you know what? This proves that Nashville SC belongs in Nashville, because for a city built on bridal parties, yet another Nashville sports team that's always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
That's it.
They make it to a championship and they lose. I mean, that is the epitome of Tennessee sports.
Super Bowl losers. We've now got a League Cup L. Honestly, are we doing it on purpose? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, some would say.
I mean,
we should make a banner. We need to hang a banner for it.
Honestly, I saw this article, and everything's clickbait these days. It was Nashville SC coach says, Messi in Miami didn't deserve to win the cup. And then you read the quote. You read the quote that says, "Man, it hurts," or something along those lines, like, "Oh man, it hurts that this guy joining, he scored one goal, and that him joining this team is why we're not." It was more of a innocuous, like, Messi is great, and him joining the team, like, we held him down pretty good, but because he's so great, he scored, and we lost, and that,
Yeah.
feels bad. Dude, it was so ridiculous. Like, it was not even, like, remotely true, whereas at least some clickbait articles, like, you click on, and then it's like, oh, what they said is technically true. It's still garbage, but this was not even so in the realm of, like, the words that they put in there weren't even said by the guy. So it was very
Yeah, that's
annoying.
wild.
It sucks, but it's good. I mean, hey, biggest stage in the world. How many eyes were on a great Nashville SC team by default
yeah.
because they were watching Messi? So that's great. And so people, soccer fans, why does Nashville have a soccer team? I mean, why? I'll bet you, it was
We
electric
just proved why.
in there. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We've been a professional team for 2 seasons now. This is our second year as an
We've
MLS
been in the
team.
MLS this is our third season in the MLS. We've been a
And we make the
professional
league,
team for 5
yeah.
years. We played in the USL, which is
Okay, yeah.
professional for 2 years.
Yeah. So, absolutely insane. Anyway, the long-awaited news is here, ladies and gentlemen. The man, the myth, the legend, Baker Mayfield is named the starting quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm assuming you drafted him in the first round, correct?
Bobby, I'm a savvy drafter. You're gonna come at me like that. I was able to get him at the round 2 turn. I
Yeah,
was talking him down to people saying, well, I didn't talk Baker down as much as I was talking Kyle Trask up. So for all those Kyle Trask truthers that took him, thought that they were stealing him in the 3rd round from me, who's got egg on their face now, buddy? That's what I've got
Yeah.
to say. So, honestly, it was the best case scenario for legitimately why I put it on there for fantasy purposes in my mind. I think Chris Godwin will still be all right. Baker is not atrocious. He's just not a number 1 overall pick, right? I think that if you look at him through the different lens, he's not a great quarterback. But if you value him correctly, and I would not even go that far. He can be serviceable. But I think, you're not going to get anything else from Kyle Trask. I mean, they brought out the ghost of Tom Brady last year and refused to let Trask play. So, that's all I had it on there, mostly a joke, the long-awaited news thing, but actually we'll have a little bit of fantasy implications. It kind of happened last week. We're recording a little later than I had anticipated.
Who do you think has a better season? Baker Mayfield, Sam Howell.
Sam Howell, easy. Let me say, can you quantify what you mean by better season?
Stats and wins. So
wins, I don't want to comment on as far as stats. I think it's very dependent. I think Baker has the better path to have more fantasy points, stats, however you want to quantify it. But only because Jacoby Brissett is a more viable backup option for a team that may be able to compete to win games. Whereas I don't. I think that they don't care if Baker's bad. It's honestly isn't it preferable, right? Tank for Caleb Williams, easy money. And so I don't think that even if they stick it through with Sam Howell, I don't think they would be bad enough. And he's bad. I don't think they would be bad enough to be in that contention for the Caleb Williams sweepstakes, right? I think personally, Sam Howell is going to be great. I like Sam Howell. I think that he's getting undervalued in fantasy drafts. I think he's being undervalued by NFL players. He has two really solid receiving options in Jahan Dotson and Terry McLaurin. Cole Turner, the rookie tight end they have there, has been showing out a little bit. Bijan Robinson gets a full year of offseason and hopefully a little healthier to pair with Antonio Gibson, which we were leaving for dead a couple years ago, and now they've started utilizing him correctly. I love the defense there in Washington. I think Sam Howell has the road to be the better player, but will the Buccaneers be playing from behind so much that it's just by default Baker ends up with more points than him? If Sam Howell only has to throw the ball 15 to 18 times a game and they're winning games, well, who is the better? So that's why I wanted to know your metric. Who's the better quarterback in terms of, I think Sam Howell will be the better NFL quarterback and the better fantasy quarterback. But I do see a viable route if Baker Mayfield hits with, you got Mike Evans there, and maybe he's bad, but he's still's got one or two bombs left in him, right?
Yeah. So it's actually funny you bring up Caleb Williams. They are not an article, but I was listening to radio on the way home from work, and he has said that depending on who has the first overall pick, he may stay for another year of college. So you have to think that if you're one of those teams that are looking at maybe tanking, you're like, oh,
no, you're not.
Because and then they went in saying that he's the the second most valuable NIL guy right now.
Yeah, I bet you behind Marvin Harrison Jr.
Archie Manning.
Oh, yeah. I didn't think about him. Marvin Harrison Jr., though, seriously, if you get the number one overall pick, I think he could very well be in contention for that category as well. And for fantasy drafters, dynasty folks, I still don't hate on the idea of trying to gather 2024 first-round picks to try to get that number one pick because, again, even if Caleb Williams doesn't come out, then you can still grab Marvin Harrison Jr., though I'm worried about amassing picks because I'm not sure behind those two.
Yeah.
But smart on him.
So I was listening today. I think they were saying that Marvin Harrison Jr. may not be, some of them were saying he may not even be top three. That I think they were saying Caleb Williams and
maybe not.
That maybe Trey Benson and Drake May.
Maybe I'm thinking of it in terms of fantasy and
Yeah,
I'm not going to be drafting O linemen and all this stuff, So yeah, so maybe I'm
Well, those are quarterbacks and running backs. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he ain't going below a running back unless they're otherworldly, and if they're otherworldly, and I don't know about them, Bobby, what have I been doing? I got to step up my game.
Yeah, I think Trey Benson's down at Florida State.
Bobby, when was
anyway, let's move into.
I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, how long have I been talking you up about Bijan Robinson, bro? I have literally been saying for years he's going to be. I say if I have a first-round pick that year, I'm getting him. Turns out that I'm not.
I got him in the first-round pick this year.
Well, in a redraft league, not a dynasty league, which is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Hey, what league did you get him in? 7 Gridirons?
I think it was 7. Whichever one I had first overall.
That's too bad.
Yeah, 7 Gridirons.
We usually do Game of Thrones names in there, but if it's not a Game of Thrones league, I heard a good one for Bijan. Bed Bath and Bijan. Hilarious.
That's amazing. Anyway, Jonathan Taylor gets the okay from the Colts to seek a trade. I thought this was going to say he gets okay. He's off the PUP list. But yeah, so I mean his health is in question this season. I think at one of my drafts I had a chance to get him. I ended up going with someone else right there because I don't know enough about him, and
it was probably keeper league.
I don't know what his situation is going to be this year.
It was probably keeper league. I took him there at that 8 spot. for the pure purpose of whether or not he plays this year. He's probably going to play next year somewhere, and so I get to keep him there. So that's why I took him. I was more of a long-term.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm punting this year, but probably not, bro. I always find a way in that league. So I do want to throw this quote out there.
Yeah.
Jim Irsay says, "We will not trade Jonathan Taylor. That is a certainty. Not now or not in October. That is the bottom line." Technically, that was accurate from Irsay. And hear me out. He did not. It's not October. And right when he said that, they did not trade him. So we're in the middle ground of he's only a liar if he trades him in the month of October now. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Some would say we're in the Ottawa of his statement.
No.
All right. Shohei Ohtani tears his UCL. Won't pitch again this season. And Mike Trout to list. That sucks for them.
It sucks for the Angels for sure. And I don't know if
Angels. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
I was gonna say Cardinals if I had to take a guess.
I don't know if the won't pitch again is implying that he's not gonna pitch and will hit or whatever. I didn't research. It's baseball, Greg, but I did want to make fun of the Angels because of these two.
Yeah.
Not that these guys are hurt at all. I don't want to, but they've just recently got hurt. So I wanted to tell you, Bob, that the Angels are currently 61 and 67. And I'm going to tell you, Bob, that's not great. But they're 61 and 67 with $149 million payroll, which is the 8th highest in the league. They're 4th in their division, by the way. To bring that into comparison, the O's are currently 78 and 48, first in the AL East. You go Orioles, baby. Let's go. They have a $51 million payroll, Bobby. That is about $98 million extra. Like imagine like having a budget compared to your opponent and just you get $98 million extra. Just like I get to spend this. And these are your records so far. But let me hit you with this, Bobby. Trout and Ohtani together make 67, meaning those two guys that are not playing now make $16 million than the entirety of the Orioles organization. I just found that to be a bit ridiculous. And also, speaking of payroll, I think I forgot to bring this up earlier. We were bragging on Austin Matthews, currently the highest NHL paid player. I forgot to mention my comment, Bobby. You know what that would make him ranked in the NBA?
60th.
113th. You know what it would make him ranked in the MLB?
I have no idea.
103rd. And in the NFL, 88th.
Okay. What about Premier League?
Probably not at all close. I mean, they don't have a cap. Right?
Yeah.
They can just a billionaire can just be like, I also make you a billionaire, right? I mean, that's pretty much that's how contracts are done. They're like, hey, do you want to spend $1 billion?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know why all of my European billionaires are Russian all of a sudden. Maybe it's indicative of something. People are going to be commenting like, that wasn't a Russian accent. It was Belarusian or something dumb. Like, sorry. We're going to be getting comments from Ukraine, accounts with IP addresses, Russian accounts with Ukraine IP addresses. That he's not Russian. I threw a little Spanish flair on that one. I'm all over the place today, Bob. Move us on.
Let's move into our main topic. We've got our Pacific Division Part 1. We're starting off with the Anaheim Ducks, who last year finished 58 points, 23, 47, and 12. Finished 8th in the Pacific. Their preseason odds to win the cup are 15 15 or plus 15,000. Let's see, their top scorer, their best, Trevor Zegras had the most points for them at 5, and also the most goals at 23, and also the most assists at 42.
Honestly, I'm not going to make the bet, but plus 15,000 is not bad, dude. But I was more talking in all seriousness. Like, do I think this team can win a cup? No. Do I think they're plus 15,000 to win a cup? I don't know about that. That seems a little. I guess it's just no man's land at that point anyway. They're like, we'll just put 15,000. We'll trick Brandon into betting $5 on it, dude. And he'll forget about it, you know?
Yeah, and it's so weird how they choose these numbers, because I was looking. They give Anaheim plus 15,000. Do you know what the Vanderbilt Commodores preseason odds in the national championship is?
Probably. I'm
It's
guessing since you're bringing it up.
Go ahead. Plus 7,000. So they think that Vanderbilt has half as better
those
chance
numbers,
to win the national championship.
No, those numbers at a
I feel like they just throw numbers at a dartboard.
Those numbers at a certain point are to entice people to put their money there. You know, like people are like, man, what do I not know? Vanderbilt plus 7,000? This a sleeper year? No, they're going to lose to Hawaii week 1. Like, they're just trying to take your money.
They don't even have a full stadium built.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, no. Hey, you know where they're playing? They're playing at like.
Are they not playing at their stadium?
No, they're playing at a high school. A high school stadium. I want to say it's like.
But they just sent emails out telling people they can still get tickets for their home games though against Georgia.
They will have they'll be in there, but week 1 they're playing at or at least I heard that they were playing at a high school. They may have switched it by now, because it was like you know how we joked about just playing stuff in a parking lot? Like, that's what it was. A college, like, it would have been ridiculous. Like, anyway, talking the Ducks. Let's see here. I'm sorry, I misplaced my marker. Not like marker, but where I was on my page. I'm so sorry.
It looks like their first game, as of today, they're playing at First Bank Stadium, which is their home stadium.
They've just switched it then. Okay, so some major offseason moves that I really like. Again, not in Stanley Cup winning moves, but definitely moving forward in the right direction. Alex Killorn, a 4-year deal. Radko Gudas, a 3-year deal. And Alex Stalock, I believe we talked about that, to a 1-year deal. Also acquired Ilya Lubishkin. I say it like that.
That's a fun name to say.
Lubishkin? That's a fun word. Lubishkin. Yeah. Ooh. Drafted Leo Carlson. And brought in Greg Cronin as head coach. The notable departures: Alex Stellares, Matt Comtois, and Kevin Shattenkirk. I feel like they covered those holes pretty good. Trois said, and plenty of youth talent. Re-signed Trevor Zegras. I feel like Killorn is going to be a great fit for that team. Are they a playoff team? No, but I think they're knocking at the door like the Devils have been the past few years before the last season kind of breaking through. What are your thoughts on their long-term outlook?
Long-term outlook, I think Trevor Zegras does another 2-3 years there, then realizes that the grass is greener.
He's nasty.
Cam Fowler is 30, is almost 32. I think his time's coming to an end.
God, what an old freakazoid, dude.
Yeah.
I'm also 32, but I'm drinking beer talking to you.
Yeah, he's a year away from being in a home. Yeah.
Coach house?
I think
we got to get it out back.
Yeah. I think Ducks are a team that in 10 years from now will be saying, still floundering.
Okay.
Maybe I think if you were to look at long term in the next 10 years, they make the playoffs twice. 1 first round knockout, 1 second round knockout, and they don't have much.
Okay. I think it's a bold prediction.
So not
I
great
think
is my outlook.
I think it's bold enough to like we're never gonna come back to that, right? Like, and if like it hits
in a decade,
if it hits, like you're gonna remember this day. Like every year, like that year 10, you're not even gonna have mentioned it. You're gonna say year 10's gonna pop up. You're gonna say, hey, here's my 10-year Ducks report that you had on 8/24/2023. And you're gonna say 2 playoff appearances. Trevor Zegras left after year 4. You're gonna be like, look at this. Like I'm gonna be like, you're a monster, dude. You're awesome.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the Calgary Flames. We have got 93 points last season, 38, 27, and 17. Finished 5th in the Pacific. Their Stanley Cup odds are only 1,800. So much better than 15,000 for a team that finished 5th. And let's go down to their most points last season was Tyler Toffoli, goals leader Tyler Toffoli, and assist leaders Elias.
Well, we can go ahead and say there will be a new goal leader and points leader on the Flames as Tyler Toffoli has left the building. So for a team that felt like they should have done so much more last year, and having only acquired Igor Sharangovich and hired a new head coach, losing Daryl Sutter, Tyler Toffoli, Milan Lucic, and Troy Stecher, I feel like we're in for more of the same this year, right, Bob? If not worse. I love Huberdeau.
Yeah.
I think we need to temper our expectations. Not that you have high expectation, but like for the Flames, man, like I think that unless something crazy happens this year, there's just something felt off last year for both the Flames and the Panthers. The Panthers sort of figured it out and got into the playoffs, and the Flames, didn't quite get there. So maybe I'm just overcorrecting because we were so high, or I was so high on them last year going into that season. I felt like they had an opportunity to win that trade. So maybe I'm overcorrecting. I don't see the playoffs though. What do you ultimately? You think they're a playoff team?
I don't think they're a playoff. I do not. And I think that I hope Nazem Kadri does not finish here. He's 33. I hope he goes somewhere else. I think he honestly. I think I love Jonathan Huberdeau. I think Nazem Kadri is probably the most universal player and the best player on that team.
More complete.
Obviously, Jonathan Huberdeau is a superstar.
Yeah.
But I think
talk
Nazem Kadri could fit into any
of
team.
Fantasy. Yeah, I talk in any terms of like fantasy and like Huberdeau when he was good and he was scoring. He had those 100-point seasons, and in Florida he was nasty. Even though Kadri was great, there was always that injury concern with Kadri. He plays the game so hard, he's out so frequently for little things and game, and that just adds up to me. But at this point, I think I agree with you. If he goes into the season healthy, I'm almost more willing to give Kadri that shot, depending on where we're drafting than Huberdeau.
Yeah. Let's see here. So we move now into the Edmonton Oilers. Last year, 109 points, 23-9, finished second in the Pacific. Their preseason odds are 1,400,
what is that?
Pretty much the same odds as Calgary.
Are you checking these odds on the same site? I guess, right?
It's all by Hockey Reference, yeah.
Okay. 1,400's not bad. I think we're thinking 14,000. 1,400 is all right. That's
I know, but the fact that it's practically the same as Calgary is what I was.
Calgary's not. Calgary's plus 7,000. Right?
Didn't we just?
Or I thought you said 7,000.
No,
maybe I was
preseason odds 1,800. That was Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt was 300. Yeah. Okay.
7,000. Yeah.
Agreed then. I guess they're just baking in the fact
Yeah.
that like people are, again, I think they do that with certain teams. Like they're like, dude, we're going to trick a bunch of people into putting a boatload of money for Edmonton Oilers to win the Stanley Cup. And we're going to clean house like we do every year. And so like the bigger that number, the more enticing it is to put your money on it. You're like, why are the, Oilers only minus, 14, 100 away from the Flames? It's to trick you. They're like, nobody's going to put money on the Flames to win the cup. So let's trick people with the Flames and make Oilers fans mad and just be like, oh, we're going to show them, what. I'm with you though. I'm sure we could find, we shouldn't go betting odds. We should look up like other types of stats because betting odds are literally like baked in with like they're game theory in us,
Yeah. So 153 points was their leader. Guess who that was? Mr. Connor McDavid. Their goal leader, Connor McDavid, and their assist leader, Connor McDavid. Shocker. This is a team who I think they're going to make the playoffs. I think they're going to get eliminated in the second round. I think they're going to get eliminated in the second. In my opinion, 6 games, second round elimination.
Bob, I'm calling it right now. We're going to see an Oilers-Rangers Cup. I'm just combining my I'm going to just bet that. I'm not even betting individually these two teams are going to the Cup. I'm going to bet that these two teams meet at the Cup. Okay? Western Conference Finals, I do think they're making it there. I don't think they're surpassing whichever team gets there to face them. I think there's a couple of teams that can move on past them. Some key acquisitions or there's some notable offseason signings. Brian Dumoulin, do like that signing. Signed Kyler Yamamoto and signed Pierre-Edouard Bellemare. Probably French, not Spanish. I gave it a Spanish twinge.
But I like it though.
It was nice. It was sexy. I was very sexy when I said it, but I knew that I could have gone the French route. Some key departures: Carson Soucy, Ryan Donato, Daniel Sprong, Morgan Geekie, Martin Jones. Since none of those guys were named Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl, I don't think that they're going to lose much offense. Maybe a little depth, but they'll probably just double shift those two guys, and so no worries. I would have liked to see a more notable, someone to help out the boys there, but I'm guessing contracts probably got in the way, as we've talked about over the past few years.
Yeah.
How those two big contracts can put you a lot, put you like the Angels sometimes. So, I think they are a good team. I think these guys are just too good to not will themselves forward a little bit. So I am feeling positive.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's move on now and wrap up today's main topic with the Los Angeles Kings at 104 points, 47, 5 and 10. Finished third in the Pacific. Preseason odds are sitting at plus 3,500 to win the cup. Their point leader, Anze Kopitar, their goal leader, Adrian Kempe, and their assist leader, Kevin Fiala. I like seeing 3 different names on that. It makes me happy.
Yeah. I am blown away. Again, it's game theory because you read 1,500 for the Flames, 1,400 for the Oilers, and then 3,500 for the team that went toe-to-toe with the Oilers last year. Didn't really lose. I guess they did have some key departures. Acquired Pierre-Luc Dubois, signed Cam Talbot, signed Trevor Lewis, but they did lose Sean Dursey, Alex Iafallo, Gabe Velarde, Eunice Corpusalo, Sean Walker, Cal Peterson, and Rasmus Kupari. So that's a lot of names that maybe not the superstars on their team, but most certainly guys that contributed at some time or another through their run. So, but again,
Yeah.
How does that go to plus 3,500? I'm not clear.
Yeah. Do you think they make the playoffs this year?
Yes, I do. I think they improve
agree.
on last year.
I think they improve, and I don't know if they make this. I think their matchup in the first round is going to dictate it. I think they can make it to the second round, but if they meet a team like Edmonton, I think they're going to get eliminated.
I don't disagree with that. I don't think that they're necessarily going far in the playoffs, but I agree that matchup will be very dependent for them. And we don't have to pick our divisional stuff now. We're doing our preview so early that I feel like now we're going to be able to get in a whole show where we can just do a prediction show. Hey, this is what we think.
Oh, for sure.
I mean,
and
I get what you're
this
saying.
Is off the cuff. I haven't done any research on that.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, hey, this is just what do you think right now as where we sit in freaking August 24. On August 24th, what do you think about the upcoming season that's going to start in October?
All right, that's enough of that. Let's move into our joke of the week.
The weird.
Corey Perry.
See, I don't like that. Wild. I think the first read was a good one. Now I'm overthinking it. Outlandish.
Each sixth chick sat on a stick. Little tongue twister.
And downright dumb.
Kidding me.
It's time for the joke of the week.
All right, this one comes to us from Coweta County in Georgia. We have porch pirates, and no, I don't mean people stealing your packages, but people stealing porches. That's right. Down in Georgia, a Mr. Robbins Swanger allegedly walked past several no trespassing signs and took the front porch. It was an 8 by 10 foot porch. It's kind of one of those, and if you can see it here, that is a full porch. And the investigator said it's a very well constructed porch, and it's valued at around $3,000. So it is a felony. I do not know how this man. A, why? B, how?
We've been talking about clickbait, Bobby, and I feel like you just clickbaited our people. You said porch pirate. I don't classify this guy as a porch pirate at all. He's a porch thief. He steals porches, okay? So, and honestly,
pirates them like you would a DVD.
Exactly. You wouldn't steal an entire front porch. Well, this guy would. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, it's so funny that you did that with the porch pirate thing, because the actual headline is Georgia man arrested for stealing his neighbor's entire front porch. That's what the article hit us with, Bobby. You clickbaited this wonderfully written article. So I wanted to give a shout out to my people over at, what is this, messenger.com? I don't know what this is, but that's a great headline. And then you get into it and you're like, well, oh my God, well, what is this? What are you trying to clickbait? No, this man stole a full porch, and it needs to be said right in the front. Like, how would you would have skipped over it if it said Georgia man arrested for being a porch pirate to his neighbor's porch? You know, you would think, oh, he stole an Amazon package. Who cares? And so I apologize, folks out there.
One of my favorite things in here is some people may shrug their shoulders and say it's not a big deal, but when you take someone's property without a consent and the value of this porch is $3,000, you can't just go and take stuff. Who's saying this is not a big deal? If I got home and my porch was gone, I wouldn't be like, oh, them's the breaks, I guess. No big deal. If I saw my neighbor's porch just one day was gone, I wouldn't say, oh, man. Oh, life, it sure does have a way of just screwing you some days.
You get home and you're trying to walk in and you try to take that step on your porch and you miss.
You just
and
run
into, and you look and you turn around and in your neighbor's yard is your porch. In what world is, even if you don't actually care about the porch itself, you're like, how in what world is that not a big deal? I think it doesn't happen often enough that it would be noteworthy, like you would tell the story.
And the thing is, you know this guy had to have had cameras, because if the cops show up and you're like, that guy stole my porch, and the guy's like, steal his what?
Well, and also,
first off,
again,
officer, how would I even do that?
It seems like it's just, I mean, no, this guy definitely told him, hey, I'm going to steal your porch. And like, have you seen the picture of the guy? He was like, I'm going to steal your porch. And the guy was like, what? And then he went to work. This guy obviously doesn't have a job, and he stole the porch and then just left it in a field. Like, it's wood. You literally could have just burned it, like all the evidence, like you had all day while this other guy was at work where you clearly were not.
See,
you could have broke it down.
I like to think that this wasn't like, I like to think this wasn't like a vengeful thing. He just really needed a porch.
He just
he didn't.
But
want to
he
build
just
one.
left it out in the field.
That's a nice porch.
He was gonna hide it in this field.
Well, maybe he got caught halfway through.
He was gonna hide it in the field until things blew over.
Yeah. That is long grass.
But also it's a very funny thing, because if he just took it apart or just destroyed it, unless like the owner like marked one of the pieces of wood, there's literally no way. And again, cameras and stuff, no way you could ever prove this was this man's porch. It's like broken into a bunch of, or even better, like he made this picture they took is after they reconstructed it from the taken down board. He was like, this is my floorboard on my porch. I always smoke on this one or whatever.
Yeah.
That's wild, dude.
So looks like they did catch him in the act of moving it.
Okay.
Is what they called him. So there is body cam footage. They caught him in the act of moving it.
Yeah.
And that's why it's in the middle of the field.
Traditionally,
they said he was
Bobby,
taking it to his house.
Traditionally, Bobby, when you steal a porch, you break it down first and then just build the porch again.
Yeah.
He didn't have, see, this is the whole problem. He was going to build his own porch, but he lent his tools to this guy who then built his porch and kept his tools.
So to be fair, some would say that is his porch then.
It's essentially, it is. I've actually switched sides midway, and I'm actually against the guy.
It's split custody. They have to share the porch.
I would have been so impressed that he's taken this porch this far. I would have been like, we will just split it every other weekend. Wednesdays, I get it. We go to church on Wednesdays, so I can't be without my porch.
You know what? That, to me, this is I would say, you know what? You can have my porch, but I've seen what you can do. You are helping me move as long as we're neighbors, and helping me carry stuff. Because obviously, if you're carrying a $3,000 porch, you can carry just about anything.
That's what I'm saying.
So I'd be like, I'm not calling the cops, but you are now my move man. Like, you are helping me move everything.
I'm hollering at you like, you drop everything. Like, you come help me. Yeah, you're in. I'll even pay you, dude. So,
yeah. All right, let's move into some pop culture real quick. On Tuesday night, I went and saw Oppenheimer, and my God, is it a good movie? Have you seen it yet? Oppenheimer. Have you seen it yet?
I have not. I've made you a comment. We can totally do it. Haven't seen it. I totally want to see it, so
no spoilers.
Hey, don't. No spoilers. I was gonna say, don't spoil it.
I'm not gonna tell you how it ends.
I've been like really like trying to hold off from the internet to find out if he ends up making it or not. So don't tell me.
Listen, no spoilers, but I will say the movie ends with a bang. All right.
I dropped out. Look, I dropped out of high school history just so I didn't know the ending of this movie. So keep me in the dark, Bob.
Yeah.
Give me a
10 years ago, you're
review.
Like, just in case, I don't like to spoil anything.
I said, they're making everything into a movie these days, teacher. I'll be leaving. This is a crucial part of World War II history. Like, I don't want to know.
Yeah. But no, I would say, honestly, I like this all, often I say, oh, this is the best Marvel movie, or this is the best action. Oppenheimer might be the best movie I've actually ever seen.
Nice.
I left there like, wow, no note. The pacing was great. And for a 3-hour movie, for the pacing to be that good, says a lot. The acting, phenomenal.
Sounds
to me, this is up there like with like Schindler's List, in my opinion.
It sounds like they did it right. Like, I feel like you can't tell this story in under 3 hours, or you're not doing it justice.
Yeah.
Like, the sheer magnitude of how it's impacted the world you can take 3 hours to sit and like learn about the. I don't know if I usually what I do when I watch something like that, first thing I do after I watch it is I go and find the inaccuracies that were historical and weren't, which I'm okay with. You got to tell a narrative and you got to tell a story. You don't want it to be
Yeah.
dry, but I do want to know what was real or what was at least feigned to be real and what wasn't. So I don't know if you've done that yet. Was there anything notable?
I have
If you
not.
have.
Okay. I haven't, but I have not. But I will say, like, and what a cast! I knew Cillian Murphy. I knew Florence Pugh. I knew Robert Downey Jr. Knew Matt Damon. I didn't know Jack Quaid. Didn't know Rami Malek. Didn't know Emily Blunt was going to be in there. Also,
so I was going to say you didn't know Rami
story.
Malek. I was like, what? You just didn't know she was going to be in the movie. He was going to be in the movie.
I didn't know he was going to be in there.
Okay, yeah. I was like, I was like, no, Bob, we got to revert back to that. Rami Malek is very popular. Yeah. That's not some unknown underground actor. Yeah. Mr. Robot will be respected.
And nothing. And I will say, it might not add anything, but it certainly doesn't take anything away. But a naked Florence Pugh, definitely. It's not bad.
You had to imagine that at some point, at that point in history, that somebody would be naked. I would find that to have been historically accurate. So that sounds awesome. Stephanie and I are always on and off going to the movies. A lot of times we'll wait for something. That's a very strong. It's like one of those, like, if you could see Saving Private Ryan in theaters for the first time again, would you do it type of thing is what I'm getting from what you're saying.
Yes, it is.
Like,
it is a 100% of movies.
Now, I know you don't like Forrest Gump, but like how people love
it's not that
Gump.
I never. It's not that I don't like it. I've just never seen it, so I don't have an opinion on it because I've never seen it.
But
which some people have said is worse, but whatever.
It is worse, Bobby. We spend 98% of our life just watching dumb stuff. You tell me about watching some European singing contest late at night that you have to like locate on YouTube, and you can't find 2 hours to watch arguably one of the how many people quote it and like you just don't know. I don't know. It is worse.
I mean, I quote it too because it's been quoted to me all my life.
Right, so. But you don't even get the funny context of it.
Yeah. All right, let's move into questions from the internet. Never mind. Well, we are at 57 minutes, so guys, we will do this question from the internet next time. So we're just gonna keep you interested. So make sure to come back next week.
Every week we just keep moving it. We just keep moving it. We'll have to move it up in the order of the show doc. Sorry guys, we're not doing news because we want to make sure we get to our question from the internet.
Yeah. Maybe we'll do a short episode in the next coming weeks with just a bunch of questions. We'll see what happens. Let's move into what's snapping your stick though.
My new war.
Bobby and Brandon are about to find out exactly what snaps their sticks.
Apparently your new war is forgetting that we have a drop for this.
That, honestly, I'm going to save this one because I'm going to be able to use that at any point in time. My new snaps my stick is the fact that I just missed a drop that we have been doing for 3 years. We have done not some odd. I literally have the episode numbered right here. We've done this. We'll take out 12. We've done this 160 times, Bobby, and I just right into it. And you usually go first anyway. Is the big thing. I dropped that one. Bud. And I'm willing. I'm what snaps my stick today. That was a blunder.
Yeah. So my snaps my stick because I realize this now that I'm teaching. I know how it feels to have that I'm old feeling.
What word did you say?
Obviously I teach
or
I didn't say a word. Well, okay, I said the word MySpace. If that was
didn't. No clue what that.
Well,
is.
they know of it. Like,
but
they know
like the
that,
fact that when you knew about the Who at that age, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've heard it because somebody had a belt buckle that had it, but I don't know about that.
But we're talking about obviously these contemporary issues. We're getting into technology and how it affects life, and next week we're getting into 9/11, and that's very interesting because this is a generation of kids who weren't alive for 9/11, but we're talking about technology. and I have a picture of a bunch of all the apps. I'm like, every one of us in this room has in our pockets. And I'm like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And I'm like, those are the three big ones that when I was in college, like we had those. Now, we've got all these things. We have dating apps, which I was out of the dating field before dating apps were even a thing. Right. So
we had Tinder, and like when I had the dating app, I used Tinder, dude, and like that was like
yeah. And then we get into Spotify, and I'm like, Spotify is a pretty new one, and I see their face. I'm like, Spotify is fairly new. I mean, I started using Spotify in college. My senior year of high school, I was plugging my iPod into the aux cord, and they looked at me like, that's wild. Most of these kids also grew up always having Spotify, never having to and always having Bluetooth, never having to plug in an aux cord. And I'm like, and obviously not up here, but MySpace. I was like, you guys probably didn't have MySpaces, but you guys probably remember it. They're like, no, and so they weren't alive for Tom to be their only friend.
You can tell like how old we're getting because like iPhone just makes new phones that don't have any headphone jack. When if it was up to old people, like I love my AirPods and stuff, and I love wireless headphones, but like sometimes there's something about like a wired thing, like what I'm saying? Like you don't lose them, you don't have to worry about losing them all the time. If they break or I sit on them, I'll go get new ones. You know what I'm saying? Like, and now, hey, I'm a grown adult. I try to be careful with my things and respect what I have. But like it's hard. Sometimes I just don't want to care about my stupid headphones, and like make sure they're in my ear and they don't fall, and like got them in the nice little case so they don't fall down. Used to, you would roll up your headphones, you'd put them in your pocket, and they would it would come out,
spend an hour
and it would be like it would be wrapped around like your leg, like it's cutting circulation off your. How did this happen? And you'd pull them out and you'd untangle them, and those bad boys would work just the same as they ever did. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel it.
And today I had one of my students say, when I was introducing the next week's topic of 9/11, one of them was like, oh, we were alive for 9/11. I was like, I promise you weren't.
No.
I was like, I have the roster. I know when most of you guys were born. No one here. And they're like, oh, yeah, 9/11 was in 2011. I was like, oh we have a lot to learn now, don't we? Oof. And with that very sad news, I'm going to leave you guys off. For Brandon, I'm Bobby. This has been Pucks Out Podcast. Thank you so much for listening to us. We'll see you all again next time.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Pucks Out Podcast. To see what other ridiculousness the guys are up to, check them out on Twitter and Instagram @PucksOutPod.